Ladies and gentlemen, to truly understand why you cannot give up, we must first grasp the fundamental nature of our being. You see, my dear friends, you are not merely a physical body moving through a material world. You are, in essence, pure consciousness, an extension of the divine mind that creates and sustains all of existence. This consciousness, this awareness that you call I, is the very substance of God expressing itself as you. Can God give up? Can the infinite, eternal, all-powerful creator of the universe ever surrender or abandon its creations? The very notion is absurd. And if you are, in truth, one with this divine power, how then can you give up? You see, giving up is nothing more than a state of consciousness, a belief in limitation and defeat. But these limitations exist only in your imagination. They're not real in any absolute sense. They are simply ideas you have accepted as true, shadows cast by the light of your own divine nature. Consider the experience you have. Every circumstance in your life is a reflection of your state of consciousness. The world you see around you is nothing more than your own self pushed out. It is a mirror showing you the contents of your own mind. When you feel tempted to give up, what you're really seeing is a projection of your own doubts and fears. But here's the liberating truth. Just as you have the power to imagine defeat, you have the equal power to imagine victory. You have the God-given ability to choose your state of consciousness. And in choosing, you create your reality. Let me share with you a principle that has transformed countless lives. Imagination creates reality. Your imagination is not some idle fancy or frivolous daydream. It is the very workshop of creation. When you imagine you engaging the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence. So when you say, I cannot give up, you are not merely making a statement of determination. You are, in fact, planting a seed in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. You are decreeing the truth about yourself and your world, and the universe has no choice but to conform to this truth. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, I've tried to persist, and yet I still face failure and disappointment. To this, I say, failure is impossible. What you perceive as failure is simply the bridge of incidents leading to your desired end. It is the universe rearranging itself to accommodate your new state of consciousness. Remember, the outer world always lags behind the inner world. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean your imaginal act hasn't taken root. The seed must be given time to grow. Your job is not to make things happen, but to maintain the state of consciousness of already having what you desire. Let's practice this now. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies you have already achieved your goal. Make it as vivid and real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions you would feel if your desire were already fulfilled. Here's the crucial part. You must feel the naturalness of this state. It must feel normal, not extraordinary. This is the secret of successful imagining. As you open your eyes, carry this feeling with you. Let it permeate your entire being. This is what it means to live from the end. You are not working towards your goal. You are living from the state of its fulfillment. From this perspective, giving up becomes not just undesirable, but utterly impossible. For how can you give up on something that, in your imagination, has already come to pass? Now let us delve deeper into the nature of consciousness and its relation to the concept of not giving up. You see, consciousness is the only reality. All that you perceive as the outer world is really taking place within you. The universe exists within your consciousness, not the other way around. This understanding is crucial because it means that the power to persist, to never give up, lies entirely within you. It's not dependent on external circumstances or the actions of others. It's a choice you make in the realm of your own consciousness. When you truly grasp this truth, you'll realize that giving up is nothing more than accepting a state of consciousness that doesn't serve you. And if consciousness is the only reality, and you have the power to choose your state of consciousness, then giving up becomes a logical impossibility. Let's explore this further. Imagine for a moment that you're facing a challenge that seems insurmountable. The temptation to give up feels strong. But remember, this challenge exists only in your consciousness. It's a shadow cast by your current state of mind. Now, instead of focusing on the challenge, turn your attention to the state of consciousness where this challenge is already overcome. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of accomplishment that comes with having moved past this obstacle. Let this feeling sink deep into your being. This is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is you. Consciously choosing to occupy a state of mind where giving up is not even a consideration. If you maintain this state, you'll find that the outer world has no choice but to restructure itself to match your inner reality. This is the law of assumption in action. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the world reshapes itself accordingly. Now, some of you might be wondering, but what about the times when I've given up in the past? To this I say, the past exists only in your memory. It has no power over you unless you give it power. Your true power lies in the present moment, in your ability to choose your state of consciousness. In fact, even the concept of giving up is a misunderstanding of the nature of time. There's only the eternal now. In this now, you are always free to choose again, to reimagine, to reassume the state of your fulfilled desire. From this perspective, what you might have called giving up in the past was simply a temporary shift in consciousness, one that you have the power to reverse at any moment. Let's practice this principle. Think of something in your life that you've been tempted to give up on. It could be a personal goal, a relationship, a project, anything at all. Now, instead of dwelling on the reasons why you can't achieve it, I want you to do something radical. I want you to assume the state of consciousness where you've already achieved it. Close your eyes and step into that reality. See through the eyes of the version of you who has already succeeded. Feel what that version of you feels. Move how that version of you moves. Speak how that version of you speaks. Make it so real that if you were to open your eyes right now, you'd be surprised to find yourself here and not in that achieved state. This, my dear friends, is the art of living from the end. When you master this, the very idea of giving up becomes absurd. For how can you give up on something that in your consciousness has already come to pass? Now let's address a common misconception. Some people believe that this practice of assuming the state of the wish fulfilled is a form of denial or escapism. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is not about ignoring reality. Reality is not what your physical senses report. Reality is not the sum total of your past experiences. Reality is not the opinions of others or the apparent limitations of your current circumstances. Reality is consciousness. And consciousness can be changed. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you're not denying current conditions. You're exercising your God-given power to choose the state of consciousness you wish to occupy. And since the outer world is nothing more than your consciousness pushed out, this choice inevitably leads to a change in your experienced reality. This understanding frees you from the tyranny of circumstances. It liberates you from the belief that you're at the mercy of external forces. It reveals the truth that you are the operant power in your life. And an operant power simply cannot give up. Consider it. Every invention, every scientific breakthrough, every work of art that has ever graced this world came into being because someone refused to give up on their vision. They held to their imagined reality despite all apparent contradictions. They lived in the consciousness of their fulfilled desire until the outer world conformed to their inner conviction. You have this same power. The power that created the universe is not outside of you. It is you. It is your very consciousness. And this power knows no failure, no defeat, no giving up. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we discuss these principles. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about the effort? Don't we need to take action in the physical world? Yes, there will be action, but it will not be the strained, anxious action of someone trying to make something happen. Instead, it will be the inspired, effortless action that naturally flows from your new state of consciousness. You see, when you truly assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you'll find yourself naturally doing the things that someone in that state would do. You won't have to force yourself. You won't have to overcome reluctance or fight against the temptation to give up. Your actions will be a natural outpicturing of your inner state. This is why it's so crucial to focus on the state of consciousness rather than on specific actions. The right actions will flow naturally from the right state of consciousness. Your job is simply to occupy the state. Let's explore this further with an example. Imagine you're an aspiring author who's been struggling to finish your first novel. You've been tempted many times to give up, to conclude that you're just not cut out for writing. Now, instead of focusing on the act of writing itself, I want you to assume the state of consciousness of being a successful author. Feel what it's like to hold your published book in your hands. Imagine seeing your name on the bestseller list. Feel the satisfaction of receiving glowing reviews from readers whose lives have been touched by your words. Live from this state. As you maintain this state, you'll find that the act of writing becomes joyful and effortless. You're no longer trying to become an author. In your consciousness, you already are one. The words flow easily because in your imaginal reality, you're simply doing what comes naturally to you as a successful author. This principle applies to every area of life. Whatever your goal, whatever you've been tempted to give up on, shift your focus from the struggle to achieve to the state of having already achieved. Live from that state and watch as your outer world reorganizes itself to match your inner conviction. Now let's address another aspect of not giving up. The apparent passage of time. In the world of Caesar, time seems to move in a linear fashion. We speak of past, present, and future as if they were fixed realities. But in the realm of consciousness, time is fluid. Your imaginal acts do not take place in time. They take place in the timeless realm of consciousness. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you're not projecting into the future. You're choosing to occupy that state now, in the only moment that truly exists, the present. This understanding frees you from the tyranny of time. It liberates you from the anxiety of when your desire will manifest. In your imagination, it has already manifested. Your job is simply to persist in this assumption. Remember, the outer world is a shadow, a reflection of your inner state. It may take time for this shadow to fully reflect your new state of consciousness. But this delay is not a reason to give up or to doubt. It's simply part of the bridge of incidents that leads to the full manifestation of your desire. In fact, this delay serves a purpose. It allows you to strengthen your faith, to deepen your understanding of these principles. Each day that you persist in your assumption, despite apparent contradictions, is a day that you're building spiritual muscle. You're proving to yourself the power of your own consciousness. So, when you're tempted to give up because things aren't happening as quickly as you'd like, remember consciousness where all creation takes place. Your desire is already fulfilled. Time is simply allowing you to align more fully with this truth. Now, let's delve into another crucial aspect of why you cannot give up. The nature of your true self. You see, the you that feels tempted to give up is not your true self. It's a construct, a collection of beliefs and memories that you've identified with. But it's not the real you. Your true self is the I am, the pure awareness that underlies all your experiences. This I am is one with God, the creative power of the universe. And this power knows no limitations, no defeat, no giving up. When you say I am, you're invoking this infinite power. Whatever follows I am is what you're claiming as your reality. So when you say I am a failure or I am ready to give up, you're misusing this creative power. You're decreeing a limited state for yourself. Instead, align your I am statements with your desires. Say, I am successful, I am persistent, I am achieving my goals. Feel the truth of these statements. Let them sink deep into your consciousness. This is not affirmation. It's a recognition of your true nature. As you practice this, you'll find that the very idea of giving up becomes foreign to you. For how can infinite, limitless awareness ever give up? How can the creative power of the universe ever admit defeat? This understanding reveals the true meaning of faith. Faith is not believing in something despite evidence to the contrary. True faith is the evidence of things not seen. It's the absolute conviction in the reality of your imaginal acts. It's knowing that what you've imagined must come to pass. Because imagination creates reality. When you have this kind of faith, giving up becomes impossible. You know that any appearance of failure or setback is just that, an appearance. It's a shadow cast by an old state of consciousness, one that you've now moved beyond. Let's practice strengthening this faith. I want you to think of something you've been close to giving up on. Now, instead of focusing on the reasons why it hasn't worked out, I want you to vividly imagine it is already accomplished. See it, feel it, know it is real. Here's the crucial part. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day. Let it inform your thoughts, your words, your actions. Live as though your desire is already fulfilled. This is what it means to walk by faith, not by sight. As you do this, you'll find that your outer world begins to shift. People and circumstances will align to support your new state of consciousness. What once seemed impossible will start to feel inevitable. This is the power of persistent faith. The reason why you cannot give up. Now let's address something that often trips people up on this journey. The opinions and judgments of others. When you're living from the state of your wish fulfilled, when you're refusing to give up despite apparent setbacks, you may encounter skepticism or even ridicule from those around you. Remember this. Their opinions are nothing more than their own states of consciousness pushed out. They have no power over you unless you give them power. Their doubt is not a reflection of your reality. It's a reflection of their limited understanding. In fact, the doubts of others can serve as a powerful reminder to persist in your assumption. Each time you encounter disbelief, let it strengthen your resolve. Let it remind you to go deeper into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is what it means to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You're no longer at the mercy of external opinions or circumstances. You're living from the inside out, creating a reality from the realm of pure consciousness. As you continue this practice, you'll find that the very concept of giving up fades from your awareness. It becomes as foreign to you as the idea of the sun deciding not to rise. You cannot give up because in your true state of being, there's nothing to give. There's only the continuous unfoldment of your divine nature. The endless expression, this understanding, brings us to a profound truth. The journey itself is the destination. The process of assuming and maintaining the state of your wish fulfilled is itself the fulfillment. For in this process, you're awakening to your true nature. You're remembering who you really are. You see, my dear friends, you are not merely seeking to achieve a goal or to acquire something. You are, in truth, seeking to remember your divine nature. Every desire you have, every goal you pursue, is really a call to awaken to your true self. When you persist in the face of apparent failure, when you refuse to give up despite all evidence to the contrary, you're doing more than just working towards a goal. You're affirming your oneness with the creative power of the universe. You're declaring your true identity as a divine being, capable of shaping reality through the power of your consciousness. This is why you cannot give up. To give up would be to deny your true nature. It would be to forget who you really are. And while you may temporarily forget, you can never truly lose this knowledge. It's the very essence of your being. So as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this thought. You cannot give up because giving up is not in your nature. You are, in essence, the limitless I am. You are the creative power that shapes worlds. You are the awareness in which all experience takes place. From this perspective, every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt is really an invitation. An invitation to go deeper into your true self. An invitation to express more fully the divine power that you are. So, my dear friends, do not give up. Not on your dreams, not on your goals, and certainly not on yourself. For in persisting, in refusing to surrender to appearances, you are fulfilling the grandest purpose of all. You are remembering your true identity. You are awakening to the divine being that you are.
In the silence of your heart, there is a truth that resonates louder than any voice God's plan for you is unshakable. Life may throw its fiercest storms, people may try to dim your light, and circumstances may attempt to block your path, but nothing can halt the divine orchestration of God's will in your life. His plan is not dependent on human approval, nor is it swayed by the opinion of peer or actions of others. It is rooted in His infinite wisdom and boundless love. When challenges arise, it is easy to feel forgotten or lost. You may wonder if the setbacks you face are signs of failure or abandonment. But remember, the obstacles in your way are not detours away from God's purpose, they are stepping stones. They are tools He uses to refine your character, strengthen your faith, and prepare you for the blessings He has already set aside for you. No trial is wasted when it is surrendered to God. There are moments when people may doubt you, criticize you, or even stand against you. Their words may sting, and their actions may seem to delay your progress. But let this truth settle in your soul: no weapon formed against you will prosper, because God's hand is upon you. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who raised Lazarus from the dead, and who conquered death itself is the one who has written your destiny. His plan does not falter because of human interference. He has already accounted for every challenge, every delay, and every mistake. You are not defined by your past or limited by your present. God sees the full picture. He knows the dreams He has placed in your heart, and He knows the right time and way to bring them to fruition. Trust that His timing is perfect. It may not always align with your expectations, but it is always for your good. When doors close, it's not because you are unworthy, it's because He has something far greater waiting for you. When delays occur, it's not because you are forgotten, it's because He is aligning circumstances in ways you cannot yet see. Faith is the anchor that holds you steady as you wait. It is the assurance that even when you cannot see the path ahead, the one who leads you sees it all. It is the confidence that His promises are not empty and His plans are not fragile. Stand firm in that faith. Speak life over your dreams, even when doubt whispers otherwise. Declare God's truth over your journey, even when the road feels uncertain. Your life is not a series of random events, it is a masterpiece in progress. Every brushstroke of joy and sorrow, every layer of triumph and trial is part of a grand design. God is the artist, and He is not finished yet. Trust Him to complete the work He has started in you. He is the author of your story, and no one else holds the pen. When fear tries to paralyze you, when disappointment tries to dishearten you, and when uncertainty tries to discourage you, remind yourself of this: God's plan for you cannot be stopped. Not by people, not by circumstances, and not by anything in this world. His love is your foundation, His grace is your strength, and His purpose for your life is unshakable. God's plan is unshakable. This truth is a foundation that cannot be moved, no matter the storms or challenges that arise in life. His plan is rooted in eternity, crafted with love and wisdom that surpasses human understanding. It is not something fragile or uncertain, nor is it influenced by the circumstances we see or the opinions of others. God's plan is like a mighty river, flowing with purpose and power, carving a path even through the hardest of obstacles. The world often presents us with a narrative that we must be in control of every detail of our lives, that our destiny depends solely on our efforts, or that unforeseen circumstances can derail our purpose. But this perspective is limited, for it fails to recognize the sovereignty of God. His plan for each of us was established long before we took our first breath. The scriptures remind us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." These words are not mere encouragement, they are a declaration of certainty, a promise that transcends the temporal and anchors us in the eternal. There may be moments in life when it feels like everything is falling apart, as if the dreams we've cherished are slipping through our fingers. Doors may close, opportunities may vanish, and paths may seem blocked. It's in these moments that the strength of God's plan becomes evident. What appears to be a setback is often a setup for something greater. The delays and detours we face are not the end of the story, but chapters in the unfolding masterpiece of our lives. God's plan is not contingent on the conditions of the world or the cooperation of others. He moves beyond human limitations, working all things together for the good of those who love Him. Doubt may whisper that you are unworthy, that you've made too many mistakes, or that your time has passed. But God's plan is not dependent on your perfection. His grace covers your imperfections, and His power is made perfect in your weakness. The Bible is filled with examples of ordinary people who, despite their flaws and failures, were used mightily by God. Moses doubted his ability to lead. David stumbled into sin, and Peter denied Christ. Yet their destinies were fulfilled because God's plan for their lives was unshakable. He doesn't call the perfect, He perfects the called. This unshakable plan is not just for the grand moments of life, but also for the quiet, everyday steps of faith. It is active in the big decisions and the small choices, in the victories and the struggles. Trusting in His plan means releasing the need to control and instead embracing the assurance that He is in control. It is living with the confidence that no matter what happens, His purpose for your life will prevail. God's plan is not just a hope for tomorrow, it is a reality unfolding today. Nothing in heaven or on earth can stop it. Obstacles are often seen as barriers, as reasons to doubt or give up, but through the lens of faith, they become stepping stones. Every challenge, every difficulty, and every moment of resistance is an opportunity for growth and transformation. They are not meant to deter us, but to strengthen us, to refine our character, and to prepare us for the next stage of our journey. God allows these moments not as punishments, but as purposeful parts of His divine plan, shaping us into who we are meant to be. When we encounter obstacles, it is natural to feel frustrated or disheartened. We might question why things aren't going according to our expectations, or why we seem to face resistance at every turn. However, it is in these very moments that God's greater purpose is at work. Challenges teach us perseverance, deepen our faith, and remind us to rely not on our own strength, but on His. The story of Joseph in the Bible is a perfect example. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and wrongfully imprisoned, Joseph faced trial after trial. Yet every obstacle he encountered was a step closer to the fulfillment of God's promise. What others intended for harm, God used for good, positioning Joseph to save a nation. Obstacles also reveal our hidden strengths and abilities. Often it is only when we are pushed to our limits that we discover the depth of our resilience and the power of our faith. Challenges force us to step out of our comfort zones, to confront our fears, and to grow in ways we never thought possible. They remind us that we are not walking alone, that God is with us, guiding us through every trial. When David faced Goliath, it wasn't just a battle between a shepherd and a giant, it was a moment of preparation for the leadership and victories that lay ahead. The obstacles in David's life were stepping stones, building his courage, trust in God, and readiness to fulfill his destiny. It's also important to recognize that obstacles often redirect us to something better. What may feel like a failure or a closed door is often God's way of steering us toward a greater opportunity. We may not understand it at the time, but hindsight reveals how the challenges we faced were necessary steps on the path to our calling. Think of the Israelites wandering in the wilderness. What seemed like a delay was God's way of preparing them to enter the promised land. Without the lessons learned in the wilderness, they would not have been ready to claim their inheritance. Obstacles demand trust. They require us to believe that God's plan is greater than our understanding, and that every step, even the difficult ones, is part of His purpose. They remind us to lean into His strength, to keep moving forward even when the way seems unclear. The very challenges that seem to block our path are often the tools God uses to shape us, elevate us, and propel us toward His perfect plan. Human interference cannot alter God's divine will. This truth is both reassuring and empowering because it reminds us that no person, no decision, and no opposition can derail the plans that God has set in motion. His authority is absolute, and His purposes are immovable. While people may attempt to hinder, delay, or even work against you, their actions are never outside the bounds of God's sovereignty. What God has ordained for your life will come to pass, regardless of human attempts to disrupt it. People may try to discourage you, diminish your confidence, or convince you that you are unworthy of what God has in store. They may judge you based on your past, misunderstand your intentions, or resist your progress. Yet none of this can undo what God has already decided. His plans are not subject to public opinion or reliant on human approval. When God opens a door, no one can shut it. When He declares a promise over your life, no amount of opposition can nullify it. This truth was evident in the life of Jesus, whose mission faced relentless opposition. Despite the schemes of the Pharisees, the betrayal by Judas, and the disbelief of many, God's purpose was fulfilled. No human effort could stop the redemption of humanity through Christ. Sometimes the interference of others feels overwhelming. You may encounter betrayal, jealousy, or unfair treatment. It can feel as though people's actions are succeeding in holding you back. But remember, God is not surprised by any of it. He sees what you cannot see and knows what you do not know. He has already accounted for every challenge and every act of opposition. In fact, He can use these very things to advance His plan. What others mean for harm, God can transform into good. The story of Nehemiah rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem is a powerful example. Despite the ridicule and sabotage attempts from his enemies, the walls were completed because Nehemiah relied on God's guidance. Human interference could not stop the divine assignment. God's will is also independent of human cooperation. You don't need everyone to believe in you or support you for God's plan to succeed. He often works through unlikely circumstances and unexpected people. Consider how God used Moses, a man with a speech impediment, to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Pharaoh resisted time and again, but God's plan prevailed. Similarly, God used Esther, a young Jewish woman, to save her people despite the schemes of Haman. Human efforts to thwart God's purpose only set the stage for His glory to be revealed. It is easy to feel discouraged when others misunderstand or oppose you. Yet these moments are opportunities to trust in God's higher ways. His plans are unstoppable, His power unmatched, and His wisdom unsearchable. What He has set in motion cannot be undone by human hands. People may try to interfere, but they are ultimately powerless against the will of the Almighty. Every attempt to block your progress only serves to magnify His ability to accomplish His purpose in your life. God's timing is perfect, a truth that often challenges our human perspective, but ultimately brings peace when we embrace it. In a world driven by deadlines, urgency, and instant gratification, waiting for God's timing can feel like a test of patience and faith. Yet His timing is not random or delayed, it is divinely orchestrated, unfolding in a way that aligns with His eternal plan and our ultimate good. Every moment, every event, and every season is precisely positioned in the timeline of our lives to fulfill His purpose. When we look at life through our limited lens, we often desire things immediately. We pray for breakthroughs, opportunities, or resolutions, expecting them to happen on our schedule. However, God operates outside of time as we know it. His view is infinite, and He sees the entirety of our lives, the beginning, the middle, and the end. What seems like a delay to us is often preparation in His divine plan. He is not only preparing the blessing, but also preparing us to receive it. Just as a seed must undergo time in the soil before it can grow into a flourishing plant, there are seasons of waiting that are necessary for our growth and readiness. In the Bible, the story of Abraham and Sarah illustrates the perfection of God's timing. They were promised a child, but that promise took years to be fulfilled. Their waiting period was not wasted, it was a time of learning, trusting, and deepening their relationship with God. When Isaac was finally born, it was evident that his arrival was not just about fulfilling a promise, but about showcasing God's faithfulness and sovereignty. Had the promise come immediately, the magnitude of God's work in their lives might have been overlooked. The waiting made the fulfillment even more powerful. God's timing is also protective. There are moments when we feel ready for something, but God, in His wisdom, knows we are not. He may withhold an opportunity, not as a denial, but as a safeguard. If we rush ahead of His plan, we may encounter challenges we are unprepared to face or misuse blessings that we are not yet equipped to handle. His timing ensures that we receive His gifts when they will be most impactful and beneficial, both for us and for those around us. Joseph's journey from the pit to the palace is a profound example. Though his dreams of leadership were real, he had to endure years of trials before stepping into his role. Each delay was part of God's perfect preparation. Trusting God's timing requires surrender. It means letting go of our desire to control and embracing the assurance that He is in control. It is an act of faith to believe that His delays are not denials and that His pace is purposeful. During the waiting seasons, we are called to remain faithful, to keep seeking Him, and to trust that He is working behind the scenes. His timing is never late, and it is always worth the wait. What He has planned for us will come to pass at exactly the right moment. Faith is the foundation of our trust in God's plan. It is the unwavering belief that even when we cannot see the path ahead, God is leading us exactly where we need to go. Faith goes beyond mere optimism or hope. It is the certainty that God is who He says He is and will do what He has promised. This kind of trust is not dependent on circumstances, but is anchored in God's unchanging nature. Faith is what enables us to walk forward, even in uncertainty, because we know that His plan is perfect. Faith often requires stepping into the unknown. It means choosing to believe in God's promises when the evidence around us seems to suggest otherwise. Abraham demonstrated this kind of faith when God called him to leave his homeland and go to a place he did not know. Abraham didn't have a map or a timeline, but he trusted in God's word and obeyed. His faith became the cornerstone of his relationship with God and the fulfillment of the covenant that would bless generations to come. Faith, then, is not about having all the answers, but about trusting the one who does. Life is filled with moments that test our faith. There are times when the way forward seems blocked, when prayers seem unanswered, and when the weight of challenges feels unbearable. In these moments, it is tempting to question God's plan or to rely on our own understanding. Yet faith calls us to surrender our doubts and trust in God's greater perspective. The story of Peter walking on water is a vivid example. When Peter focused on Jesus, he was able to do the impossible. But the moment he let fear and doubt take over, he began to sink. Faith keeps us anchored, even in the storm, reminding us that God is in control. Faith is not passive, it requires action. It is not simply believing in God's promises, but living as though they are already fulfilled. When we act in faith, we align ourselves with God's will and demonstrate our trust in His timing and provision. The woman with the issue of blood acted in faith when she reached out to touch Jesus' garment, believing she would be healed. Her faith was the catalyst for her miracle. In the same way, our faith moves us to take steps, even small ones, toward the promises God has placed before us. Faith also brings peace. When we trust in God's plan, we no longer feel the need to control every detail of our lives. We can rest in the assurance that He is working all things for our good. This peace doesn't mean the absence of trials, but the presence of God's comfort and guidance within them. Faith transforms our perspective, allowing us to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to grow and deepen our reliance on God. Faith is the bridge between God's promises and their fulfillment. It is what allows us to walk forward with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, God's plan for us is good, and His purposes will prevail. God's plans for us are filled with hope, purpose, and victory, even when life's circumstances suggest otherwise. At times, the challenges and trials we face can cloud our understanding of His intentions, leading us to question whether the difficulties we endure have any purpose. But God's plans are not only good, they are divinely crafted to bring us closer to Him and to fulfill His higher purpose for our lives. His promises remind us that He is always working for our ultimate good, even when we cannot see it. The promise of Jeremiah 29:11 echoes this truth. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. These words were spoken to the Israelites during a time of exile, a season of hardship and uncertainty. Yet even in that difficult moment, God assured them that their suffering was not the end of their story. He had a future of restoration and blessings waiting for them. This assurance is the same for us today. No matter where we find ourselves, God's plans are steadfast, filled with hope, and focused on our growth. Life may often present circumstances that feel anything but hopeful. Perhaps we face setbacks, losses, or prolonged seasons of waiting that leave us wondering if God's promises will ever be fulfilled. It is in these moments that we must cling to His word and trust in His character. God's goodness is not negated by our trials. On the contrary, He uses them to shape us, strengthen our faith, and prepare us for the greater things He has in store. The Apostle Paul understood this deeply when he wrote in Romans 8:28 that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. The victories that come from God's plans often emerge from what initially seems like defeat. The cross is the ultimate example of this. At the time, it appeared to be the end of Jesus' ministry, a moment of despair for His followers. But what looked like loss was actually the greatest victory in history. Through the cross, God's plan of redemption for humanity was fulfilled, proving that His ways are far higher and more powerful than we can comprehend. In our lives, too, what seems like failure or delay can be the groundwork for a divine breakthrough. God's plans also carry an eternal perspective, reminding us that our hope is not confined to this world. While His blessings are evident in our present lives, His ultimate goal is to draw us closer to Him and prepare us for eternity. The hope we find in His plans transcends temporary circumstances, grounding us in the assurance of His unchanging love. Every step of the journey, whether filled with joy or trials, is part of His perfect design for our lives. Even in the darkest moments, God's plans shine through with purpose and hope. His goodness, faithfulness, and promises are unshakable, giving us the strength to persevere, trust, and walk forward in confidence. The victory He has prepared for us is not just for today, it is for eternity, and it is certain. In the grand tapestry of life, God's plan is the thread that binds everything together with purpose, hope, and love. It is a plan that transcends our understanding, yet it is always for our good. Through His timing, His promises, and the unwavering assurance of His faithfulness, we are reminded that nothing, no obstacle, no delay, no challenge can hinder what He has ordained for us. Our role is to trust, to walk in faith, and to align ourselves with His will, knowing that He is always working behind the scenes. His plans are not just about achieving victories or receiving blessings, they are about transforming us, drawing us closer to Him, and fulfilling a purpose far greater than we can imagine. With God, we are never alone, never forgotten, and always on the path toward a hope-filled future. Let us hold fast to this truth, rest in His promises, and move forward with confidence, for His plans will always prevail.
Imagine, if you will, a world where your thoughts shape your reality, where your imagination is the creative force that molds the very fabric of your existence. This is not a fantasy, my dear friends, but the fundamental truth of our being. For you see, the world you perceive around you is nothing but an outward picture of your inner assumptions. Every circumstance, every event, every person in your life is there because you have imagined it so. Now you might be thinking, Neville, how can this be? How can my mere thoughts and imagination create such profound changes in just 1 week? And to that, I say time is but an illusion, a construct of the human mind. In the realm of spirit, in the kingdom within you, there is no time. There is only the eternal now, the precious present moment in which all possibilities exist simultaneously. As we embark on this journey together, exploring these 5 transformative habits, I want you to shed all preconceived notions of what is possible or impossible. For in the world of imagination, there are no limits, no boundaries, and no obstacles that cannot be overcome. You are about to discover the immense power that has been lying dormant within you, waiting to be awakened and harnessed. The first habit that will revolutionize your life is the practice of living in the end. This, my friends, is the cornerstone of all creation, the very foundation upon which your new life will be built. Living in the end means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, experiencing in your imagination the reality you desire, as if it were already manifest in the physical world. Let me illustrate this profound truth with a simple example. Suppose you desire financial abundance. Instead of focusing on your current state of lack or limitation, you must assume the feeling of already possessed. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself living in the beautiful home you've always dreamed of. Feel the soft carpet beneath your feet. Smell the fragrant flowers in your garden. Hear the laughter of your loved ones echoing through the spacious rooms. This, my dear friends, is not mere daydreaming or escapism. This is the very act of creation. For you see, your imagination is God in action. It is the creative power of the universe expressing itself through you. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled,
You are aligning yourself with the creative forces of the cosmos, setting in motion a series of events that must inevitably lead to the manifestation of your desire. But remember, it is not enough to simply visualize your desire for a few moments and then return to your old patterns of your thought and behavior. You must persist in this new assumption, making it your dominant feeling, your new reality. This is where the power of the second habit comes into play, the art of revision. Revision, my friends, is the magical act of rewriting your past to align with your desired future. It is the recognition that time is fluid, that your memories are not fixed, immutable things, but rather malleable impressions that can be reshaped by the power of your imagination. Let us say that you had an unpleasant encounter with a colleague at work. Instead of replaying this negative experience in your mind, reinforcing feelings of anger or resentment, you have the power to revise this event. Close your eyes and replay the scene in your imagination. But this time, see it unfold exactly as you would have wished. Hear the kind words, feel the warmth of a friendly interaction, experience the mutual respect and understanding. As you practice this habit of revision, you will find that not only does it change your perception of past events, but it also transforms your present and future. For you see, by revising the past, you are altering the very foundation upon which your current reality is built. You are rewriting the script of your life scene by scene, moment by moment. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can changing my imagination of past events alter what has already happened? And to that, I say, what you perceive as the past is nothing but a memory, a thought you are thinking in the present moment. By changing that thought, by revising that memory, you are quite literally altering the past, present, and future in one fell swoop. As you practice these first two habits, living in the end and revision, you will begin to notice a shift in your consciousness. The world around you will start to reflect your new assumptions, your revised memories. This is where the third transformative habit comes into play, the cultivation of unwavering faith. Faith, my dear friends, is not blind belief in something outside of yourself. It is not hoping or wishing for a better future. True faith is the absolute conviction that what you have imagined in your mind and felt in your heart must inevitably manifest in your physical reality. It is the unshakable knowing that your desires are already fulfilled in the spiritual realm and are now moving into expression in the world of form. To cultivate this unwavering faith, you must learn to dismiss the evidence of your physical senses when they contradict your desired reality. If you have imagined financial abundance, yet your bank account shows a lack of funds, you must have the courage and conviction to say, this is but a shadow of the old man. My true reality is one of infinite abundance, and that is what I choose to accept and believe. This habit of faith requires practice and persistence. It demands that you stand firm in your conviction even when the entire world seems to argue against it. But I assure you, my friends, that as you strengthen this muscle of faith, you will witness miracles unfold in your life. For faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now, let us turn our attention to the fourth habit, one that is often overlooked but is absolutely crucial in the art of conscious creation, the practice of gratitude. Gratitude, my friends, is not merely a polite social custom or a fleeting emotion. It is a powerful creative force, a state of being that aligns you with the abundance of the universe. When you cultivate an attitude of genuine gratitude, you are acknowledging that you already possess everything you desire. You are recognizing the infinite abundance that surrounds you at every moment. This state of thankfulness opens the floodgates of blessings, attracting more and more reasons to be grateful. Begin each day by counting your blessings. Before you rise from your bed, take a few moments to feel deep appreciation for all that you have in your life. Be thankful for the air you breathe, the beating of your heart, the roof over your head, the love of your family and friends. But don't stop there. Express gratitude for the things you desire as if you already possess them. If you desire perfect health, give thanks for your strong, vibrant body. If you seek a loving relationship, feel grateful for the wonderful partner who is already in your life, even if you haven't met them in the physical realm yet. Remember, in the world of imagination, in the kingdom within you, all things already exist. Your gratitude is the bridge that brings these desires into your physical experience. As you practice this habit of gratitude, you will find that your entire perspective on life begins to shift. The world around you will appear more beautiful, more abundant, more filled with opportunities and blessings. You will begin to see evidence of your desired reality everywhere you look, further strengthening your faith and accelerating the manifestation of your Liga. Now we come to the fifth and final habit, one that ties all the others together and amplifies their power exponentially, the art of letting go. This, my dear friends, is perhaps the most challenging habit to master. but it is also the most liberating and transformative. Letting go means releasing your attachment to the outcome, surrendering your desires to the infinite wisdom of the universe. It means trusting that once you have planted the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your imagination, nurtured it with the water of your faith, and bathed it in the sunlight of your gratitude, you must then step back and allow it to grow in its own time and in its own way. Many of you may be wondering, but Neville, doesn't letting go contradict the idea of living in the end? How can I assume the feeling of my wish fulfilled while also detaching from the outcome? And to that I say, letting go is not about abandoning your desire or ceasing to live in the end. It is about releasing the anxiety, the doubt, and the need to control how and when your desire will manifest. When you truly let go, you enter a state of perfect peace and trust. You know with absolute certainty that your desire is already yours in the spiritual realm, and you are content to allow it to unfold in the physical world in the most beautiful and harmonious way possible. This state of letting go removes all resistance, all doubt, and all fear, creating a clear channel through which your desire can flow into your experience. Imagine, if you will, that you have ordered a package from a trusted source. You know with certainty that the package has been sent and is on its way to you. You spend every waking moment anxiously checking your mailbox or tracking the package's progress. Of course not. You simply go about your day confident in the knowledge that your package will arrive at the perfect time. This, my friends, is the essence of letting go. As you practice these 5 habits, living in the end, revision, unwavering faith, gratitude, and letting go, you will witness a transformation in your life so profound, so all-encompassing that it will seem nothing short of miraculous. And yet, it is not a miracle in the conventional sense. It is simply the natural outcome of aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, of recognizing and embracing your true nature as a divine being, capable of shaping reality through the power of your imagination. Now, I want you to understand that these habits are not separate, isolated practices. They are interconnected, each one supporting and amplifying the others. As you live in the end, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you naturally cultivate gratitude for what you have imagined. As you revise your past, you strengthen your faith in the malleability of reality. As you let go, you demonstrate your unwavering trust in the perfect unfolding of your desires. In just 1 week of consistently applying these habits, you will begin to see evidence of your new reality taking shape around you. But remember, my dear friends, time is an illusion. In the realm of spirit, change can happen in an instant. The moment you truly embrace these habits, the moment you fully accept your divine nature and the creative power of your imagination, your entire world can shift in the blink of an eye. Let me share with you a story that illustrates the transformative power of these habits. There was once a man who had struggled with financial difficulties for many years. He lived in a small, cramped apartment, could barely make ends meet, and felt trapped in a job he despised. Then he discovered these 5 habits and decided to apply them with unwavering commitment. For 1 week, he dedicated himself to living in the end. Every night before sleep and every morning upon waking, he would close his eyes and imagine himself living in a beautiful home, enjoying financial abundance, and working in a fulfilling career. He felt the joy, the freedom, the sense of security that came with this new reality. He revised his past, reimagining his childhood as one of abundance and opportunity. In his mind, he rewrote every memory of lack or limitation, replacing them with experiences of plenty and success. He cultivated unwavering faith, dismissing any doubts or negative thoughts that arose, affirming to himself, I am now living my ideal life. My success is assured. Throughout the day, he practiced gratitude, giving thanks for the abundance that surrounded him, even if his physical circumstances hadn't yet changed. He expressed heartfelt appreciation for his imagined wealth, his dream home, his perfect job, feeling the emotions as if these things were already his. And finally, he mastered the art of letting go. He released his anxiety about how or when his desires would manifest, trusting in the perfect timing of the universe. He went about his days with a sense of peace and contentment, knowing that his new reality was already secured in the spiritual realm. Now, you might expect me to tell you that after 1 week, this man suddenly won the lottery or received a large inheritance. But that is not how the law of assumption works. Instead, something far more profound occurred. The man's entire perception of his life transformed. He began to see opportunities where before he had only seen obstacles. His confidence soared, and he found himself performing better at work, leading to a promotion and a significant raise. His new positive attitude attracted people who could help him advance his career. An acquaintance offered him a chance to invest in a promising business venture, which he seized with both hands. Within a month, he had moved into a larger, more comfortable apartment. Within 3 months, he had started his own successful business. And within a year, he was living in the very home he had imagined during that transformative week. You see, my friends, the external changes in this man's life were merely reflections of the internal changes he had made through these 5 habits. By assuming the feeling of his wish fulfilled, by revising his past, by cultivating unwavering faith, by practicing gratitude, and by letting go. He had literally transformed himself into a new person, one whose reality matched his desires. Now I can sense that some of you may be thinking, but Neville, surely it can't be that simple. Surely there must be more to it than just imagining and feeling, and to that I say, yes, it is that simple, and no, there is nothing more to it. The power of creation lies within you, within your capacity to imagine and feel. Everything else, all the actions, all the apparent hard work, flows naturally from that initial creative act of imagination. Consider the words of the great William Blake. What is now proved was once only imagined. Everything in your world, from the chair you're sitting on to the most advanced technology, began as a thought, an idea, a spark of imagination in someone's mind. You, my dear friends, have that same creative power within you. You are not merely a passive observer of reality. You are the author of your life story. As we near the conclusion of our time together, I want to impress upon you the urgency of applying these habits in your life. Do not delay, do not procrastinate, do not tell yourself that you will start tomorrow. The time to begin is now, this very moment. For in truth, this moment is all that exists. The past is gone, the future is yet to be. But in this eternal now, you have the power to reshape your entire world. Begin tonight as you lay your head upon your pillow. Close your eyes and enter the state akin to sleep. That drowsy, quiet state where your conscious mind relaxes and your subconscious becomes receptive. In this state, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions associated with having your dreams realized. As you drift off to sleep, carry this feeling with you into your slumber, for your subconscious mind never sleeps. And it is in these quiet hours of the night that it works most powerfully to bring your assumptions into reality. When you awaken in the morning, before you rise from your bed, revisit this feeling. Spend a few moments in gratitude for the new day and for the fulfillment of your desires. Throughout your day, whenever you have a spare moment, while waiting in line, during your lunch break, as you commute to and from work, practice these habits. Live in the end, revise any unpleasant experiences, cultivate your faith, express gratitude, and let go of any anxiety or doubt. Remember, my friends, consistency is key. These habits are not a one-time exercise, but a new way of life. They require practice, dedication, and persistence. But I assure you, the rewards are beyond anything you can currently imagine. For as you master these habits, you master the very art of living. You become conscious creators, divine beings expressing the infinite power of the universe through your thoughts and feelings. In closing, I want to remind you of a profound truth. You are not bound by your past, by your current circumstances, or by what others think is possible for you. You are bound only by your own imagination and your willingness to assume the feeling of your wishes fulfilled. The life you dream of is not somewhere out there in a distant future. It exists now in this very moment within you. So go forth, my dear friends, and apply these 5 habits with all the intensity and conviction you can muster. Live in the end, revise your past, cultivate unwavering faith, practice gratitude, and learn to let go. Do this, and I promise you, in just 1 week, you will see your world begin to transform. And as you persist in these habits, you will continue to witness miracles unfold in your life, day after day, week after week, until you stand in awe of the magnificent reality you have created. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. All that you seek, all the love, all the abundance, all the joy, all the success, it is already yours. You need only to claim it, to assume it, to embody it. For you are the operant power. You are the divine creative force expressing itself in human form. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Go now and be the creator of your world. For in the words of the immortal bard, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. You, my friends, are not just players in this grand drama of life. You are the playwright, the director, and the star of your own magnificent story. Write it well, direct it with purpose, and play your part with all the passion and conviction you can muster. The curtain rises on your new life now. Step onto the stage of your transformed reality with confidence, with joy, and with the unshakable knowledge that you are the author of your destiny. The power is yours, the time is now, and the only limit is your imagination. Embrace these 5 habits, embody them fully, and watch as your life changes in just 1 week and continues to evolve into a masterpiece of your own creation. Thank you, bless you, and may your journey of conscious creation bring you all the joy, abundance, and fulfillment your heart desires. Remember, it is done. It is finished. Your new life awaits you. Claim it now with every fiber of your being and step into the glorious reality that is your divine birthright. The world is yours, shaped by your imagination, molded by your assumptions, and brought to life by the power of your consciousness. Go forth and create miracles, for that is who you truly are. Miracle workers, divine creators, gods in human form. The stage is set, the lights are on, and your magnificent performance begins now. Bravo, my friends, bravo. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have everything they desire, while others struggle their entire lives? The difference isn't luck, intelligence, or even hard work. It's something far more powerful, something I discovered that transformed my life in just 7 days. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 habits that will revolutionize your existence. But before I do, I need you to understand something crucial. Everything you're about to hear has been tested, proven, and verified not just by me, but by thousands who have applied these principles. Let's start with habit number 1, the morning mental diet. This habit alone has the power to reshape your entire reality. Here's exactly how to do it. When you first wake up, don't move. Keep your eyes closed. For the next 15 minutes, you're going to enter what I call the creation zone. In this state, your brain waves are perfectly aligned for programming your subconscious mind. Begin by feeling your desired reality. Notice I'm not saying visualize, I'm saying feel. If you want financial abundance, feel the sensation of checking your bank account and seeing millions. Feel the texture of the leather seats in your dream car. Feel the ocean breeze on your face as you sit on the balcony of your beach house. I remember when I first started this practice, I was sleeping on a hard mattress in a cramped room, but every morning I would feel the sensation of waking up in my dream home. I felt the plush carpet under my feet, the warmth of the morning sun streaming through floor to ceiling windows, the peace of achieving everything I desired. Within days, my external reality began shifting to match my internal experience. This isn't coincidence, it's law. Habit number 2, the constant state. This habit is about maintaining your desired state throughout the day. Most people let their circumstances dictate their state of mind. We're going to reverse that. When you walk, walk as if you've already achieved everything you desire. When you talk, speak from the perspective of someone who has it all. When you breathe, breathe as if you're already living your dream life. This isn't pretending. It's assuming the natural state of who you really are. Think about how you'd carry yourself if you were already successful. How would your posture be? How would you interact with others? How would you respond to challenges? I practice this everywhere, at the grocery store, in meetings, while driving. Instead of letting my current circumstances affect my state, I maintained the feeling of my wish fulfilled. The results were immediate and astounding. Habit number 3, the financial feeling. This habit transformed my relationship with money overnight. Every time you interact with money, spending it, receiving it, even thinking about it, maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance. Here's the key to the financial feeling. When you pay bills, feel genuine gratitude for your ability to circulate money. When you buy something, feel the joy of endless prosperity. Even when you see expensive items, feel the natural comfort of knowing you can easily afford them. I remember standing in front of luxury stores, feeling the natural sensation of being able to buy anything I desired, not from a place of lack or wanting, but from a place of knowing it was already mine. This leads us to habit number 4, the nightly review. This habit is what I call the subconscious programming session. Before sleep, your mind enters a highly receptive state. This is when you can implant your desires directly into your subconscious. Lie in bed and replay your perfect day. Not the day you just had, but the day you want to have. Feel yourself waking up in your dream home. Experience the satisfaction of achieving your goals. Feel the joy of your ideal relationships. I would lie there feeling the sensation of closing $1 million deals, of impacting thousands of lives, of living in complete abundance. I didn't just imagine these scenes, I felt them with every fiber of my being. The fifth habit is what I call the identity shift. This is perhaps the most powerful of all. Instead of trying to change your circumstances, you change who you are at the core level. Most people try to change their lives from the outside in. They think if I get more money, a better job, or a perfect relationship, they'll finally become the person they want to be. But that's backwards. You must first become that person in your mind. Feel what it's like to be confident, successful, and fulfilled. Don't ask yourself what you need to do to become successful. Ask yourself what a successful person would do, and then naturally do those things. I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. I stopped trying to become successful and simply assumed the identity of someone who already was. My walk changed, my talk changed, my decisions changed, all naturally, all effortlessly. These 5 habits work together in perfect harmony. The morning mental diet programs your day. The constant state maintains that programming. The financial feeling transforms your relationship with abundance. The nightly review deepens the impression, and the identity shift makes it all permanent. But here's what most people don't understand. These habits aren't about changing your actions. They're about changing your state of consciousness. When your consciousness changes, your actions change automatically. Think about it. How does a wealthy person make decisions? How does a confident person handle challenges? How does a successful person view opportunities? When you assume these states of consciousness, you naturally take the actions that create these results. Let me share with you how these habits create lasting transformation. Most people try to change their lives through willpower and struggle, but that's like trying to push a boulder uphill. These habits work with the natural laws of consciousness. Consider this: every morning when you practice the mental diet, you're actually reprogramming your subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined with feeling. It simply accepts whatever you impress upon it. I discovered that the key is persistence. When I first started, my logical mind would argue, saying this isn't real. But I persisted in maintaining the feeling of my desired reality. Within days, my external world began rearranging itself to match my internal state. Let me show you how to deepen these habits. With the constant state, you must understand that every moment is an opportunity to reinforce your new reality. When you're standing in line at the coffee shop, feel wealthy. When you're stuck in traffic, feel successful. When you're waiting for an elevator, feel accomplished. I remember catching myself slipping back into old patterns of thought. But instead of fighting these thoughts, I would gently return to my desired state. It's like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it becomes. The financial feeling requires a complete shift in how you view money. Most people feel tension, worry, or lack when dealing with money. You must train yourself to feel relaxed, confident, and abundant in all financial situations. When I began this practice, I would walk into expensive stores and feel completely at home. I would look at luxury cars and feel the natural sensation of ownership. I would read about $1 million deals and feel completely comfortable with those numbers. The nightly review becomes more powerful when you add emotional intensity to your scenes. Don't just passively observe your desired reality. Be fully immersed in it. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, experience the emotions. I would spend hours perfecting my scenes, making them more vivid, more real, more alive. The key is to feel the naturalness of your desired state. It shouldn't feel like fantasy. It should feel like memory. The identity shift is where all these habits culminate. You're not just changing your thoughts or actions, you're changing who you are at the deepest level. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about awakening to who you truly are. Think about how master pianist plays. They don't think about each note, they express their mastery naturally. That's how these habits should feel. They should become as natural as breathing. Let me reveal something profound about these habits that most people never realize. Every single moment of your day is either reinforcing your old reality or creating your new one. There is no neutral ground. When you're practicing the morning mental diet, you're not just daydreaming, you're actually selecting which version of reality you'll experience. Think of it like tuning a radio to a specific frequency. The station you tune into determines what you'll hear. I discovered that the key to making this habit unstoppable is to focus on the feeling tone of your desire. If you want wealth, don't just imagine money. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with abundance. Make it so real that your palms tingle with the sensation. The constant state becomes even more powerful when you understand this. Your current circumstances are just shadows of past thinking. They have no power to dictate your state unless you give them that power. This was a game changer for me. When I faced challenges or setbacks, instead of reacting to them, I would immediately shift to the feeling of my desire fulfilled. If someone questioned my goals, I maintained my state. If circumstances seemed contrary to my desires, I persisted in my chosen state. Here's something critical about the financial feeling that transformed my entire relationship with money. Money is just frozen desire. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're actually melting that frozen energy and allowing it to flow freely in your life. I remember standing in line at the grocery store, watching others stress about prices. But I had trained myself to feel wealthy regardless of my bank balance. Every transaction became an opportunity to circulate abundance, to feel the joy of prosperity. The nightly review becomes magnetic when you add this dimension. As you're reviewing your perfect day, feel the satisfaction of already having lived it. Don't preview it, review it. This subtle shift makes all the difference. I would lie in bed feeling the profound gratitude of another successful day, even before that day had physically manifested. I felt the handshakes, heard the congratulations, experienced the joy of achievements as if they had already happened. The identity shift deepens when you realize this truth. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you truly are. This isn't about change, it's about recognition. You're simply recognizing your true unlimited nature. Most people think success is about doing, but it's really about being. When you shift your identity, the doing follows naturally. I stopped trying to figure out how to become successful and simply started being successful in my mind and emotions. Here's something few understand about these habits. They work on the principle of assumption. When you assume something is true, your subconscious mind must make it so. It has no choice. It's like giving it a direct command. Let me share something revolutionary about these habits that changed everything for me. Most people think time is linear, that tomorrow comes after today. But when you master these habits, you realize time is actually simultaneous. All possibilities exist now. The morning mental diet becomes exponentially more powerful when you grasp this. You're not creating something new. You're selecting from infinite existing possibilities. Every morning, as you lie there feeling your desired reality, you're actually tuning into a version of you that already has everything you want. I discovered that consistency is crucial. Even if you don't feel like doing it, even if your logical mind argues against it, you must maintain these practices. It's like building a fire. You can't light it once and expect it to burn forever. You must tend to it. The constant state takes on new meaning when you understand this principle. Your external world is nothing but your internal world pushed out. Everything you see, every person you meet, every circumstance you encounter is simply showing you your previous state of consciousness. This was mind-blowing for me. I realized that when I maintained my desired state throughout the day, I wasn't just pretending. I was actually shifting the entire universe to match my consciousness. Every moment became an opportunity for transformation. Let me share a deeper aspect of the financial feeling that most never grasp. Money is just a symbol of exchange, but abundance is a state of being. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're not just attracting money, you're becoming the very essence of prosperity. I remember walking into stores and feeling completely different about prices. Instead of seeing something as expensive, I would feel genuine appreciation for its value. Instead of wondering if I could afford something, I naturally knew everything was within my means. The nightly review becomes transformative. When you add this dimension, as you're reviewing your perfect day, feel the relief of knowing it's done. Feel the satisfaction of completion. Feel the natural assumption that this is simply your way of life now. I would lie there feeling the weight of achievement, the warmth of accomplishment, the peace of knowing my desires were already fulfilled. This wasn't hope or wishful thinking. It was a knowing beyond all doubt. The identity shift deepens when you realize this truth. Every version of you already exists. The successful you, the wealthy you, the confident you, they're all present now. You're not creating these versions, you're selecting which one to experience. Think about this. When you change channels on a TV, you're not creating new programs. You're tuning into broadcasts that already exist. Similarly, when you shift your identity, you're tuning into a version of you that already exists in infinite possibility. These habits work together in perfect harmony because they all operate on the same principle, the principle of consciousness. Whatever you're conscious of, you must experience. Whatever you feel is real must become real. Let me reveal something that will fundamentally change how you understand these habits. Most people think success requires years of hard work, but I discovered that success happens in an instant. The instant you fully accept your desired state as real. Think about this when you're practicing the morning mental diet. You're not just visualizing a better future. You're actually stepping into a new dimension of yourself. Each morning becomes a portal to infinite possibilities. This is why the first 15 minutes of your day are sacred. I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. Instead of starting my day with worry and rush preparation, I would lie there in complete serenity, feeling my desired reality with such intensity that my current circumstances seemed like a distant dream. Here's a crucial aspect of the constant state that most miss. Your state of consciousness is your real environment. The physical world you see is just a shadow of past states. When you maintain your desired state throughout the day, you're actually living in your new reality because visible to others. Let me share something profound about maintaining your state. Every person you encounter, every situation you face, is actually an opportunity to reinforce your new reality. When someone talks about limitation, silently maintain your state of abundance. When circumstances appear challenging, intensify your feeling of success. The financial feeling becomes revolutionary when you understand this. Money doesn't flow to you. It flows through you. When you maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance, you become a channel for wealth. Every financial transaction becomes a celebration of prosperity. I would look at my bank account with the same feeling regardless of the numbers shown. I would pay bills with genuine joy, knowing that every dollar spent would return multiplied. I would treat myself to quality experiences, maintaining the natural feeling that I could afford anything I truly desired. The nightly review takes on new power when you grasp this. Your subconscious mind is most receptive in the last moments before sleep. This is when you can impress your desires most deeply. It's like programming tomorrow while you sleep. I would create scenes so vivid, so real, that my physical reality seemed like the dream. I would feel the texture of success, hear the sounds of achievement, experience the emotions of fulfillment with such intensity that my subconscious had no choice but to accept them as real. The identity shift becomes unstoppable. When you realize this, you are not your past thoughts, your current circumstances, or your future hopes. You are pure consciousness capable of assuming any state you desire. This is true power. Most people try to change their lives by changing their actions, but I discovered that when you change your identity, your actions change automatically. You don't have to force yourself to act successful. You naturally do what a successful person would do because you're operating from that state of consciousness. Here's something crucial about these habits. They're not separate practices. They're different aspects of the same truth. The truth that your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your body, your environment, your circumstances, is just consciousness pushed out into form. The morning mental diet becomes transformative When you realize this, in those first moments of waking, your brain operates in theta waves, the same state held by advanced meditators. This is why those 15 minutes are more powerful than hours of affirmations during the day. I remember experiencing this profound truth during these morning sessions. I wasn't just imagining success, I was actually experiencing success at a neurological level. My brain couldn't distinguish between my imagined reality and physical reality, creating new neural pathways of achievement. Here's the deeper aspect of the constant state that changed everything. Every emotion you feel throughout the day is actually a choice. When you understand this, you realize you can choose to feel successful, wealthy, and fulfilled regardless of external circumstances. Think about this, your current reality is just a shadow of past emotional states. When you maintain your desired emotional state consistently, you're actually creating your future reality. Every moment becomes a point of power, a chance to reinforce your new state of being. The financial feeling transforms when you grasp this principle. Money is just crystallized consciousness. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're actually altering the energy field around you. This is why opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere when you master this habit. I discovered that every financial transaction is actually an energy exchange. When I bought coffee, paid rent, or made any purchase, I maintained the feeling that I was circulating abundance, not losing money. This subtle shift created a constant flow of prosperity in my life. The nightly review becomes magical when you understand this. Your subconscious mind processes information in symbols and feelings. When you review your perfect day before sleep, you're actually feeding your subconscious mind a new blueprint for reality. I would lie there feeling the satisfaction of closed deals, the joy of achievement, the peace of financial freedom. But here's the key. I wouldn't just imagine these scenes, I would feel them with such intensity that my body responded as if they were actually happening. The identity shift reaches new depths when you realize this truth. Your identity isn't something you create. It's something you select from infinite possibilities. Just as a radio can tune into different stations, your consciousness can tune into different versions of you. This understanding transformed how I approach change. Instead of trying to become something new, I simply tuned into the version of me that already had everything I desired. The struggle disappeared, replaced by a natural assumption of my chosen state. Here's something profound about these habits. They work on the principle of resonance. Whatever state you maintain consistently becomes your dominant frequency, and the universe must respond by bringing you experiences that match that frequency. The morning mental diet becomes even more crucial. When you understand this, those first 15 minutes are actually programming the quantum field. When you feel your desired reality with intensity, you're not just affecting your mind, you're reorganizing the very fabric of reality. I discovered that during these morning sessions, maintaining pure focus is essential. Any doubt, any questioning of how create static in the quantum field. The key is to feel with such completeness that questions become irrelevant. You simply know it's done. Here's something profound about the constant state that few understand. Every moment of your day is a choice point in quantum reality. Each time you maintain your desired state despite contrary evidence, you're actually collapsing quantum possibilities into your chosen reality. Think about this. When you're in line at a store, sitting in traffic, or facing any situation that would normally trigger negative emotions, you have a quantum opportunity. By maintaining your desired state, you're actually selecting which parallel reality you'll experience next. The financial feeling becomes extraordinary when you grasp this principle. Money is just frozen time and energy. When you maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance, you're actually altering the quantum field that governs financial flow. I remember walking past expensive stores, looking at luxury items, and feeling complete ownership, not from a place of wanting, but from a place of having. This wasn't pretense, it was selecting from infinite quantum possibilities the reality where these things were already mine. The nightly review takes on cosmic significance when you understand this. During sleep, your consciousness interfaces directly with the quantum field. Your nightly scene review isn't just programming your mind, it's programming reality itself. I would lie there feeling the absolute naturalness of my desires fulfilled. I discovered that the key isn't to reach for the feeling, but to settle into it like sinking into a comfortable chair. The more natural it feels, the more quickly it manifests. The identity shift becomes reality altering when you grasp this truth. You are not a physical being trying to affect the quantum field. You are the quantum field expressing itself as a physical being. This understanding changes everything. Most people think they need to overcome their circumstances. But I discovered that circumstances are just crystallized consciousness. When you shift your identity at the quantum level, circumstances must shift to match your new frequency. Here's something revolutionary about these habits. They work because they align you with the fundamental nature of reality. Reality isn't solid. It's a responsive field of infinite possibility, constantly shaped by consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement in history first existed as a state of consciousness in someone's mind. The Wright brothers felt the reality of flight before planes existed. Every inventor, every innovator, every achiever first lived their desire in consciousness.